Hello fellow Wolverines and welcome back to Wolv TV SportsCenter. My name is Zach Warshaw.
And I'm Gabby Miller. In this week's episode, we'll cover football's 30-27 win at Nebraska, a strong stretch from women's volleyball with victories over Central Michigan and back-to-back wins against Notre Dame, men's soccer's 1-0 triumph over Washington, women's soccer's hard-fought setbacks against USC and number 4 ranked UCLA, and women's field hockey's commanding shutout of Michigan State, followed by a tough 3-1 defeat against James Madison.
Your Wolverines escaped Lincoln on Saturday with a hard-fought 30-27 win over the Cornhuskers. Michigan got on the board first with a 46-yard field goal from Dominic Zavada, followed by a 37-yard rushing touchdown from our very own mobile quarterback Bryce Underwood to make it 10-0 at the end of the first. In the second, Nebraska tied it at 10 thanks to a 39-yard field goal from Kyle Cunningham and a 26-yard touchdown pass from wannabe Patrick Mahomes' Dylan Raiola to wide receiver Ja'Cory Barney Jr. On the very next play following the Husker touchdown, running back Justice Haynes broke free for a 75-yard rushing touchdown to make it 17-10. Poor clock management from the Michigan coaching staff at the very end of the first half allowed Nebraska to pull off a 52-yard Hail Mary touchdown pass with zeros on the clock, tying the game at 17.
Coming out of the locker room, the Wolverines scored what would prove to be crucial points, coming from a 56-yard Zavada field goal and a 54-yard rushing touchdown from running back Jordan Marshall, making it 27-17. In the fourth quarter, Nebraska made things interesting, scoring a 32-yard field goal and a 2-yard touchdown pass, but a massive field goal from Dominic Zavada sealed the game for the Wolverines. Underwood had an okay game, going 12 for 22 with 105 passing yards and no touchdowns. Justice Haynes was the real star of this weekend, with 149 rushing yards on 17 carries with 1 touchdown and an average of nearly 9 yards per play.
On September 17th, Michigan women's volleyball returned home to face Central Michigan and handled business quickly. Ella Demetrician led the way with 12 kills, Lydia Johnson was perfect at the net with 9 of her own, and Jenna Haynes made an impact from the service line with 3 aces. That momentum carried into September 19th when the Wolverines went on the road and swept Notre Dame in South Bend. Allison Jacobs took charge with 12 kills, while Demetrician and Johnson added steady production up front. Haynes and Serena Niambio held down the middle, and Morgan Burke guided the team on both ends with a double-double. 2 days later, the teams met again in Ann Arbor, and Michigan closed out the series with another sweep. Jacobs and Demetrician once again paced the attack, Niambio stood tall with 7 blocks, and Maddie Kukrin steadied the defense in the back row. With the win, the Wolverines finished non-conference play at 10-1, and now turn their focus to Big Ten competition.
The Michigan women's soccer team unfortunately dropped both games this week to the California schools as they opened up Big Ten play with a 2-1 loss to USC on Thursday, September 18th. Lily Bosley scored her first career goal late in the first half, but was unable to overcome USC's defense, resulting in the loss. Sunday, September 21st, the team got up against number 4 ranked UCLA for senior night. While this game resulted in a 1-0 loss, holding a top-ranked team to only 1 goal on 10 shots was a testament to the defensive play from Michigan. This week, the team follows in football's footsteps as they travel to Lincoln on Thursday, September 25th to take on Nebraska, before returning home to face Minnesota on Sunday, September 28th.
The men's soccer team had a more successful week, defeating Washington 1-0 for their first win over the Huskies in program history on Saturday, September 20th. Quinn Rogers scored the lone goal for Michigan, and a stellar performance from goalkeeper Isaiah Goldson saw him face 16 shots, turning 4 away for the shutout. The Michigan men now welcome little brother Michigan State for a soccer edition of the Paul Bunyan Trophy on Friday, September 26th.
The Michigan women's field hockey team opened Big Ten play with a commanding 5-0 shutout over Michigan State on Friday, September 19th at Phyllis Soccer Field. 4 of the Wolverines' goals came off penalty corners, highlighted by 2 from 5th-year senior Emmy Tran, her first tallies of the season. Juliette Manzer opened the scoring with her 4th of the year, while Maxine Rogue and Abby Tamer added goals to seal the win. The Wolverines outshot the Spartans 23-8 and extended their win streak to 5 games straight.
On Sunday, September 21st, the Wolverine streak came to an end in a 3-1 loss to James Madison. Despite holding a 29-10 advantage in shots and a 15-3 edge in corners, Michigan struggled to finish while JMU's Madeleine Mollier netted all 3 goals on fast breaks. Ava Bernardi scored the lone Wolverine goal off a fourth quarter penalty corner, assisted by Abby Burnett and Manzur. Michigan now sits at 5-2 on the season and will head east for matchups against Maryland on Friday, September 26th, and Old Dominion on Sunday, September 28th. So, what an end to the Biff Poggi era. We get Sharon Moore back, but I was very impressed at how Poggi was openly wanting Bryce Underwood to run the ball. We know Sharon Moore has been a little skeptical about Underwood running just because he was quoted to say, don't really want your forced quarterback running until you're confident you have two, which kind of a wild comment. But very excited to see what he did with the offense and wondering how it's going to continue with Sharon Moore back.
I'm excited to see how it develops. I think Chip Lindsey's getting a little bit more comfortable letting Bryce Underwood have that creative freedom and not just limit him to handoffs or really short lateral passes instead of just, I think more progressing down the field is what we need. We obviously have the quarterback and the assets to do it. I think wide receivers were definitely a question going into the beginning of the season. We lost some talent there, and a lot of people were wondering what's going to happen there, who's going to fill that void. I think we are starting to see those voids be filled and a little bit more comfortability. I know we saw some drops, but I think all those tweaks are easily able to be fixed during practices, and I think we can really develop off of that. As far as Biff goes, loved having Biff back. He obviously was a huge component during the Harbaugh era. I mean, he took them out of that rut like no other. He's really great at leveling all of the thoughts in the locker room. I could go on and on about his impact. He's genuinely a really great coaching figure, and I loved seeing him in that position this past weekend. And if that ever were to happen in Michigan's future again, I can't say I would be necessarily mad about it.
Amazing guy. Great personality, too. I love when A, calling Bryce Underwood Batman's tremendous. B, what are you going to do after this win? Coffee, ice cream, and a cigar. I think that was great.
Wasn't it Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream?
Going back to Chip Lindsey for a second, I am so glad that we are opening the passing game.
I agree. We do have two incredibly talented running backs. Like, do not get me wrong, but we also have this asset. People are calling him Batman. Like, are we going to show that, or are we just going to keep handing it off?
I was in the Michigan media box for the Central Michigan game, and the Michigan media, like, one guy literally said, let's get vertical, man. Like, what are we doing? Throw the ball. And so it's so exciting to actually see them do that because Michigan football hasn't really been able to throw the ball a lot.
For sure. So we had jokes going into this year, like maybe this will be the return of the forward pass for Michigan football. And then at first it wasn't.
Army West Point for a second.
And it's just funny to see that now. It's funny to see that it was a shock that it wasn't there in the first place when we had all this expectation and all this hype for Underwood. But now I'm glad to see that we are starting to get more comfortable and he's starting to work better with that team chemistry.
I couldn't agree more, absolutely. That'll be all for this week's episode of Wolf TV SportsCenter. I'm Zach Warshaw.
And I'm Gabby Miller.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody.